The Street Valentine's Day Massacre of 1929 to 5 Unsolved Mysteries. This is one of the most spectacular unsolved cases in the history of organized crime. Gang boss Al Capone had a perfect alibi. Generations of Americans have believed that Al Capone was behind the Street Valentine's Day Massacre, when 7 associates of rival mobster George Bugs Moran were executed in a Chicago garage on the 14th of February, 1929. In reality, Capone, the flamboyant crime boss of Chicago, was never even questioned in the case. No one was ever brought to trial, making the Street Valentine's Day Massacre the most outstanding, unsolved gangland crime in history. What is undeniable is that at around 10:30 a.m., a black Cadillac stopped in front of the SMC Cartage Company garage on North Clark Street. 4, possibly 5 men stepped out, 2 of them dressed in police uniforms. They ordered the 7 men inside the garage to line up facing the wall, then opened fire with 2 Thompson submachine guns, firing more than 70 rounds. Minutes later, the gunmen departed, hands raised as though being escorted by police. 6 men died instantly. Before drawing his last breath, the 7th victim mumbled, "The police did it," or "Nobody shot me," according to varying reports. When newspapers published the gruesome photographs across America, dozens of theories erupted, most riddled with holes like the blood-splattered garage wall. The big questions remain unanswered. Why was Moran's group present at the garage that morning? Some theories suggest that the 7 victims' mafia accountant Adam Heyer, deputy leader Albert Kachelek, nightclub owner Albert Weinshank, brothers Peter and Frank Gusenberg, mechanic John May, and Reinhard Schwimmer, an ophthalmologist fond of mingling with the mafia, were there either to divide up a stolen shipment of whiskey or to prepare for a trip to Detroit to pick up more goods. But most of them were dressed in fine suits, not the sort of attire for bootlegging. It is possible they had been summoned to a business meeting, real or staged, and obediently lined up, believing it was merely a performance put on by corrupt police officers. They still carried thousands of dollars on them, proving that robbery was not the motive. Bugs Moran was not present. A lookout policeman apparently mistook one of the 7 for Moran while he was still a block away, and signaled for the gunfire to begin too early. So who killed them and why? Capone had a solid alibi. That morning, he was present at the Dade County Courthouse in Florida, being questioned by prosecutors about another murder. Of course, Capone could still issue orders from Florida. He had a motive. His faction and Moran's had been clashing for years, battling over bootlegging markets, cleaning services, and dog racing bets around Chicago. Although the police had arrested some of Capone's men, they were quickly released for lack of evidence. Mafia historians have offered many conflicting theories. In the Street Valentine's Day Massacre, 2004, William J. Helmer Jr. and Arthur J. Bielek argued that Capone hired a group of hitmen from Street Louis, nicknamed the American Boys, to eliminate Moran. Not knowing what Moran looked like, they shot everyone to be sure. By contrast, Jonathan Egg, in his biography Get Capone, 2010, argued that if Capone truly wanted to kill Moran, he only needed to place a lone assassin outside his rival's house. Killing 7 men with an elaborate plan, it's absurd. Egg told History.com. A turning point came at the end of 1929. Fred "Killer" Burke, a longtime Capone associate, shot and killed a policeman in Michigan. Searching Burke's house, police discovered a massive arsenal, including 2 Thompsons that matched bullets from the massacre. Burke was sentenced to life for killing the officer, but was never questioned about the guns in the Valentine's Day case. By January 1935, the Chicago American declared the case solved, citing Brian Bolton, a member of another gang who confessed to taking part in the massacre. Yet local and federal authorities denied it, and the story faded away. An FBI report in 1936 revealed that Bolton had once testified he purchased the Cadillac and was present at a Wisconsin resort where Capone planned the operation. He named 5 conspirators, including Burke and the American Boys, but all were either dead, missing, or imprisoned for other crimes. The FBI apparently never shared this information with Chicago police, leaving the testimony uninvestigated. Another theory emerges from an unpublished FBI file. In a 1935 letter, Frank Farrell, a highway employee, asked FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover to investigate the 1,928 killing of William Davern Jr., the son of a Chicago police sergeant. Farrell wrote that Davern had once revealed Moran's henchmen shot him. Afterwards, William Three-Fingered Jack White, the gangster cousin of Davern, arranged the massacre as revenge, luring Moran's men into the garage. Egg argued that this theory explained many unanswered details: why they were in the garage, why the police could ignore or even participate in the retaliation. Skeptics countered that White was in prison from 1926 until July 1929, but Egg argued he might have bribed his way out for a short time. White, who had once worked for an FBI employee, was shot dead at his home in 1934. Why were the Chicago police powerless? During Prohibition, Chicago had as many as 10,000 speakeasies and 500 unresolved gangland murders, according to Helmer and Bilek. The entire system had been corrupted, bribed at every level. Egg remarked. Capone was frequently arrested, yet never held for long. Bolton even testified that the Chicago police chief was on Capone's payroll, receiving $5,000 a week at the time of the massacre. In contrast, when Philadelphia police arrested Capone and his bodyguard at the end of 1929 for carrying weapons, they were tried, convicted, and sentenced in just 16 hours. Where was the FBI in all of this? Although Hoover later turned the FBI into a notorious anti-crime force, he did not want to be involved in the street Valentine's Day massacre, considering it merely a local matter. He rejected the Justice Department's request for an investigation and continued to deny the existence of organized crime until the 1952nd. Some authors suggest that mafia bosses had blackmail material on Hoover. Others argue that he was only interested in bank robbers and radicals. Determined to bring down Capone, President Herbert Hoover, no relation, ordered the Treasury Department to investigate his finances. The public enemy number 1 was sentenced to 11 years in prison for federal tax evasion in 1931. Could Capone have been charged with the massacre after his release, as some newspapers once speculated? Perhaps, but by then, his brain had been ravaged by syphilis, and he was no longer a threat to society. Capone died in 1947. Egg argues that leaving a cloud of suspicion hanging over Capone was more useful to the federal government than trying to prove it in court. Meanwhile, the legend of Capone continued to spread in books, films, and television as the mafia boss who got away with the street Valentine's Day massacre.